It's one of the most beloved films of all time, one of the top grossing, and also a successful Broadway musical. It's also well known for completely misrepresenting hyenas to the media. My name is Tim, and today on Channel Frederator, we're counting down 107 facts about The Lion King. Let's get started. Number 1. The making of The Lion King reveals that the opening scene originally featured a dialogue track that introduced most of the main characters. Directors Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff scrapped it once they heard the final version of Circle of Life. Number 2. Going along with that decision, the opening scene was so powerful it was used as a trailer for the film. This was the first time Disney ever made a trailer using a complete scene. And it's also the first time that people raised their frightened cats up in the air like they were Simba. Number 3. The Lion King was Disney's first animated film to have a completely original story. When we say completely original, we mean it isn't an explicit fairy tale ripoff, it's still totally Shakespeare's Hamlet. Number 4. It was planned for Tommy Chong to play the third hyena opposite his comedy duo buddy, Cheech Marin. But he couldn't be reached, so Jim Cummings was cast instead. Number 5, the first script of the film was titled King of Beasts. Then it was King of the Jungle. Then it was King of the Hill. Yep. Number 6, the title was changed from King of the Jungle when someone had the smarts to realize that lions don't live in jungles. My knowledge of lions comes from the movie Madagascar, so as far as I know, lions come from the zoo. Number 7, unfortunately, the use of jungle lives on in some of the film's taglines. Number 8, the aforementioned first script featured Scar as a lone lion in charge of a pack of vicious baboons. In this iteration, he had no relation to Simba. Number 9, the early draft also had Rafiki as a cheetah instead of a mandrill. Number 10, and Timon and Pumbaa were both friends with Simba from the start of the film rather than being introduced later. Number 11, Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella nabbed the roles Timon and Pumbaa but originally auditioned to play hyenas. Number 12, Lane and Sabella actually asked the film's casting director if they could audition together after bumping into one another in the lobby of the audition in New York. As you'd expect, they were hilarious. Number 13, Cheech Marin and Whoopi Goldberg ended up being cast as hyenas. Number 14, in addition to the third hyena, Jim Cummings also voiced Gopher, who reports to Zazu. Number 15, he also filled in for Jeremy Irons, the voice of Scar, on the last third of the song, Be Prepared. Number 16, Cummings had to fill in because Jeremy Irons threw his voice out while recording the song. Number 17, the classic song Hakuna Matata wasn't originally in the script for the film. There was instead a song about eating bugs titled He's Got It All Worked Out. Director Rob Minkoff has said, "We couldn't convince everybody that making the entire song about eating bugs was a good idea." Soon after, the research team came back from their trip to Africa with the phrase Hakuna Matata. We talked about it in a meeting with Tim Rice, and that's when the idea struck. I remember Tim saying, Hakuna Matata, it's a bit like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, and a song was born. Number 18. Following Simba's first encounter with the hyenas, the film was going to feature a lullaby sung by Sarabi, titled The Lion in the Moon. The song was going to be about a protective lion spirit. Number 19. The groundhog that appears in the film was originally going to be a naked mole rat, but animators couldn't get him to look right. One of the directors has said, "We would have lost our G rating." Number 20. The wildebeest stampede took Disney CGI animators more than 2 years to create. They even had to write a new computer program to govern the herd's movement. Number 21. Until 2013, The Lion King was the highest grossing animated film of all time. Then Frozen came along. At first, The Lion King animators were mad, but then they let it go. Number 22. The Lion King is still the highest grossing hand-drawn animated feature of all time. It had a box office total of over 987 million, which brings us to our next fact. Number 23. The film was actually made by a B team of Disney animators. The A team chose to focus on Pocahontas, which they felt would be more successful. It turns out that lion cubs are more cute than raccoons and Grandmother Willow. Number 24. The Lion King VHS is the best-selling home video of all time. Number 25, Rafiki is supposed to be a mandrill, but he's actually more of a baboon-mandrill hybrid. True mandrills don't have tails. Number 26, a 1994 earthquake forced Disney Studios to close down temporarily. As a result, a great deal of The Lion King was completed in the homes of the artists. Number 27. The first director of The Lion King was George Scribner. He wanted the film to be a sort of animated National Geographic feature. When it was decided that it would be a musical, he left. Number 28. We all know about hidden Mickeys, right? A small yellow beetle found by Timon under a log is wearing Mickey Mouse ears. Number 29. Disney had wildlife expert Jim Fowler bring in real African animals like hornbills and lions to the studio at different stages of life so animators could use them as figure models. Number 30. In the making of The Lion King, screenwriter Irene Mecchi has said the idea for the film was first presented to her as Hamlet in Africa with Bambi thrown in. Number 31. A number of characters that were developed for the film never made it in. One such character was Mitu, who was going to be a tag-along little brother of Nala. Number 32. Simba would try and save Mitu from the stampede, but fail. Luckily, Mufasa would come to the rescue. Unluckily, he would die. I guess some things are just unavoidable, like crying when Mufasa dies. Number 33. Another character who was written out of the script was Bati, a wisecracking, bat-eared fox who was a friend of Nala's. Number 34. There was also another meerkat named Tesma who would be a mopey relative of Timon. Number 35. At one point there was going to be a lizard named Iggy. Number 36. The hyenas were originally going to be cape hunting dogs. Number 37. Rowan Atkinson, also known as Mr. Bean, was cast as Zazu the Hornbill. Several former members of Monty Python were also considered for the role, along with Patrick Stewart. Number 38. Hakuna Matata originally had an extra verse with Timon explaining his difficulty fitting in with other meerkats. Number 39. Originally, the final fight between Simba and Scar had Simba falling off a cliff and losing. Scar would laugh maniacally while being burned to death, after which it would be revealed that Simba survived the fall. Number 40. The American Film Institute lists The Lion King as the 4th best animated film of all time. The 3 to beat it out were Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, and Bambi. Number 41. We all know about the scandalous sex in the dust cloud hullabaloo. Animators claim that it was actually meant to be SFX as a nod to the art department. Dirty people and their dirty minds. Number 42. According to Entertainment Weekly, Disney made more than $1 billion on Lion King merchandise back in 1994. Number 43. The Lion King wasn't the first time that James Earl Jones and Madge Sinclair played an African king and queen together. The voice actors for Mufasa and Sarabi also performed alongside one another as royalty in the 1988 film Coming to America. Number 44. Tim Rice apparently went through around 15 iterations of lyrics for Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Number 45. The Elton John recording of the aforementioned song, which plays during the credits of the film, was Rice's first version. Number 46. Elton John's version of Can You Feel the Love Tonight nabbed an Oscar. Number 47. Disney has denied any connection between The Lion King and Kimba the White Lion, but people can't help but draw comparisons. In fact, Matthew Broderick, who voices Simba as an adult, originally thought he was working on a remake of Kimba the White Lion when he read the script.
Greetings, viewers. This is Garrix Wormuloid, host of Earthling Cinema on Wisecrack. If you'd like to uncover the deeper meaning to some of Earth's most renowned films, head over to Wisecrack and check out the Earthling Cinema playlist. Now, back to the facts.
Number 48. Pumbaa is the first Disney character to have ever farted on screen. Animation milestones. Number 49. In November of 1991, Disney sent a team of animators to Hell's Gate National Park in Kenya to research for the film. As a result, the majority of the film's landscapes are based on this park. Number 50. Pride Rock, however, is not based on the park, or anywhere for that matter. It was created by one of Disney's artists in good old Burbank, California. Number 51 is even more hate for the hyena portrayal. Biologists were displeased with how hyenas were portrayed as villains in the film. One even listed boycotting the film as something people could do to help preserve hyenas in the wild. Number 52. Disney felt that Pocahontas would be more successful than The Lion King because of its historical roots. What could be more historical than the first ever Disney animated fart? Number 53. Back when the film was still called King of the Jungle, the plot centered around a conflict between lions and baboons. Number 54. Pumbaa often rubs his belly. This tick was inspired by animator Tony Bancroft's then pregnant wife, who would often rub her belly. Bancroft felt that adding the action would make Pumbaa seem more human and relatable. Well, okay, yeah, except he isn't pregnant. Number 55. A scene during Be Prepared has Scar's army of hyenas assemble in linear formation before marching. It was actually inspired by an image of Adolf Hitler watching a Nazi procession. Number 56. James Earl Jones is iconic as Mufasa, and it's hard to imagine anyone else even trying to take on the role. Surprisingly though, Disney's first choice was Connery.
Suck on it, Trebek.
Number 57. Can You Feel the Love Tonight was originally going to be a comedic duet for Timon and Pumbaa. Who pulled the plug? Supposedly, Elton John. Number 58. Produced by Disney Theatrical, The Lion King musical opened on Broadway in 1997. It garnered 6 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. Number 59. Jeremy Irons is amazing as Scar, but did you know that Tim Curry and Malcolm McDowell were also considered for the role? Number 60. Looks like someone didn't do their research, and this isn't about hyenas. The pyramid of animals in I Just Can't Wait to Be King includes anteaters, but anteaters aren't native to Africa. They're actually from South America.
Really?
Number 61. A character that appeared in drafts but didn't make it to the final film was a python who was going to be Scar's sidekick. Or rather, Scar's sidekick. Number 62. Another cut character was Sarabi's sister. Number 63. The Lion King was the first Disney animated feature to be dubbed in Zulu. Number 64. The Lion King was Disney's second animated feature to win a Golden Globe for Best Musical or Comedy. Beauty and the Beast was the first, and only Toy Story 2 has nabbed the award since. Number 65. We all remember the defining moment when little Simba says, "You're weird," and Scar says,
"You have no idea."
The latter line is actually intentionally the same as one previously uttered by Irons in his Oscar-winning performance as Klaus von Bülow for the film Reversal of Fortune. Number 66. The Lion King was a lot edgier in some early drafts. One iteration had Nala being banned from Pride Rock for spurning Scar's sexual advances. Number 67. The scrapped Nala Scar plotline was added back in for the film's stage musical adaptation because director Julie Taymor wanted to expand the presence of female characters in the story. Number 68. The opening chants in Circle of Life actually translate to "Here comes a lion, father. Oh yes, it's a lion. Here comes a lion, father. Oh yes, it's a lion. A lion we're going to conquer. A lion and a leopard come to this open place." Number 69. Scar is the only lion in The Lion King who has claws. No wonder it was so easy for him to off Mufasa. Number 70. It's rumored that adult Simba's mane was modeled after Jon Bon Jovi's hair.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Number 71. Zazu's name is misspelled in the closing credits as Zasu. Number 72. The film's creators went on a safari in Kenya for 2 weeks to study how real lions live. They recall tying a rope behind their Land Rover and driving slowly as lion cubs chased the oversized string. The cubs were like really big house cats, batting and playing with the rope. Number 73. The scene where Mufasa's ghost appears in front of Simba was the last scene created for the film. Number 74. The original script had Mufasa dying with no further appearances, but producers decided that Simba really needed to see his father again. Number 75. We mentioned before that Disney put all its key animators on Pocahontas, which everyone expected to be more successful. Back then, story artist Brenda Chapman, who would go on to direct Brave and The Prince of Egypt, thought that The Lion King's story wasn't very good. Number 76. Similarly, Disney legend Bernie Madison declared, "I don't know who is going to want to watch that one." Number 77. The name of Nala's mother is never explicitly stated in the film, but it is included in the ending credits as Serafina. Her name also appeared on Burger King trading cards. Number 78. When Timon is performing his hula dance for the hyenas, you can hear a sped-up version of the Aloha chant from Disneyland's Enchanted Tiki Room. Number 79. A number of characters' names are based on Swahili words, which means it's time for a lightning round. Simba's name means lion. Number 80, Sarabi's name means mirage. Number 81, Rafiki's name means friend. Number 82, Pumbaa's name means simpleton or weak-minded. Number 83, Shenzi's name means barbarous, uncouth, uncivilized, or savage. Number 84, Bonsai's name means skulk or lurk. Lightning round over. That was a little one. I'm not even that out of breath. Number 85, we've mentioned one hidden Mickey, now here's another. When Mufasa is telling Simba about the great kings of the past, pay attention to the stars. During the wide shot, you can see Mickey Mouse.
I knew that one.
Number 86, at the end of the same scene, you can also see the constellation of Leo in the sky. Number 87, Elton John was given a special screening of The Lion King weeks before its opening. He noticed that Can You Feel the Love Tonight had been left out and successfully lobbied to have it put back in. Gotta get that Academy Award, am I right? Number 88, the film's animators were so impressed with Jeremy Irons as Scar that they worked the actor's facial features into the character's design. Number 89, in 1994, The Lion King was the highest grossing film worldwide. In the US specifically, it was the second highest grossing after Forrest Gump.
My name's Forrest.
Number 90, when Jonathan Taylor Thomas was recording the scene where Simba is pinned down by Nala, he was hit on the back to make it sound like he had gotten the wind knocked out of him. Hopefully they didn't take too many takes for that. Number 91, we mentioned that early drafts had Scar being unrelated to Simba and, in turn, Mufasa. This was changed eventually because story writers felt that adding a familial connection would be much more interesting. It would be a threat from within. Number 92, Simba and Timon may be buddies, but their respective actors only met once during the film's production, and it was in a hall. That's because Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane's lines were recorded separately. Number 93, that's okay though, we're sure Broderick and Lane had a chance to get to know one another better when they worked together on the film The Producers. Number 94, hyenas are portrayed as quite the scavengers in the film, but in reality, they scavenged the kills of lions less than lions scavenged theirs. Number 95, in The Lion King, hyenas also seem a little derpy? But they're actually pretty much equal to lions in both intelligence and ferocity. They have intricate social structures and are less prone to killing their own kind than lions are. Number 96, The Lion King was the last Disney film to be supervised by Jeffrey Katzenberg before his departure to form DreamWorks. Number 97, Mufasa's off-screen roar, heard before he saves Simba and Nala from the hyenas, isn't actually a lion's roar. It's a combination of the roar of a grizzly bear, the roar of a tiger, and an F-16 flyby Falcon. Number 98. Early on in the film's production, Mufasa was scripted to sing a song titled To Be King. It didn't suit James Earl Jones' singing voice, so it was scrapped. Number 99. The composer for the film was none other than Hans Zimmer. Since then, he's composed for other big-name films like the Pirates of the Caribbean series, the Dark Knight trilogy, and Inception. Most importantly, though, he was the composer for Muppets Treasure Island. Number 100. To help provide authenticity to the film's soundtrack, Hans Zimmer relied on the help of his South African friend, Lebo M. He's the one you hear during the opening bars of Circle of Life. He also wrote the African chant that underpins the song. Number 101. Hans Zimmer actually promised directors Rob Minkoff and Roger Allers, as well as producer Don Hahn, that he would get Lebo M to work on the film. The two had previously collaborated on the 1992 film, The Power of One. However, he realized after making his promise that he had no idea where to find Lebo M. It all worked out when his friend showed up at his house one morning out of the blue. Number 102. The IMAX version premiere for the film had some interesting invitations. They requested no nannies. That's subtle code for, yeah, you can bring the kids, but the invitation is for you, not them. And there's a reason for that. Number 103, The Lion King was legendary actor Gregory Peck's favorite animated film. In fact, expanding beyond animation, it was one of his top 5 favorite films of all time. Number 104, Liam Neeson was considered for the role of Mufasa. It was thought that Mufasa was going to have a very particular set of skills. Number 105, more than 600 artists, animators, and technicians contributed to The Lion King. It took more than 1 million drawings to complete the film, including 1,197 hand-painted backgrounds and 119,058 individually colored frames of film. Number 106, the scene where the hyenas chase Simba out of the Pride Lands into the desert flows from screen left to screen right. Originally, though, it went from screen right to screen left. Filmmakers flipped all the shots so that the chase would match the shot of Simba running back home to face Scar. And finally, number 107, Timon's infamous hula dance was originally going to be a Saturday Night Fever-esque disco dance.
And there it is. 107 facts about one of Disney's most enduring classics. If you've still got The Lion King on the mind, see me break it down on Earthling Cinema by clicking here or the link in the description. Thanks for watching.
Did you guys know that this year marked the 20th anniversary of The Lion King? Oh, you did know that. Oh, well, that's cool. You know, Hakuna Matata and so forth. Lucky for me, there's a bunch more cool stuff about The Lion King that I've got for you today. Here are 9 things that you didn't know about The Lion King. Probably. God, The Lion King is so good, you guys. It's the highest grossing, traditionally animated film of all time to this day. So suck it, Simpsons movie. And The Lion King also holds its own even when you factor in computer animated films, taking third place all time behind Frozen and Toy Story 3. But what most people don't know is how scattered the production was when animating The Lion King. For example, in this scene with Simba and Scar, the lead animator on Scar was working in LA and Simba's lead animator was working out of Florida. Meanwhile, Jeremy Irons recorded his performance in London. If that wasn't enough, an earthquake towards the end of production forced all the California animators to have to finish animating the film from their homes. When you think about how fragmented everything was behind the scenes, it's amazing to see how seamless the final product is, especially considering that Disney thought Pocahontas was going to be their bigger movie and had their so-called B team working on Lion King. Way to come through, B team. The Lion King is about as close as you get to a perfect movie, but even still, it does have a couple of animation mistakes. For one, in this scene with Rafiki, his chalk is this deep pinkish color in the bowl, but then it's a lighter, brighter shade when he puts it on the wall. And to be honest, I can barely even see much color difference, and I would have never noticed, but the filmmakers are actually the ones who revealed this error, making it into the final film. And in this scene with the elephant carcass, we have what's called a color pop. Here it is again in case you missed it. The animators just simply didn't have enough time to fix it before their deadline. And now you'll never be able to unsee those mistakes every time you watch this movie. So, sorry. Oh, but by the way, the guy who animated Rafiki, James Baxter, is the same person who animated Belle in Beauty and the Beast and Roger Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Boom! Made it up to you with a bonus thing you didn't know. Let's talk about Mufasa for a second. Check out his badass roar in this scene where he rescues Simba and Nala from the hyenas. Most people don't know that the growl we hear there is actually not a lion at all. It's a combination of a grizzly bear, a tiger, and an F-16 flyby. Which makes sense because everyone knows hyenas are terrified of flying. Did you know that Simba has something in common with Prince Akeem from Coming to America? And it's actually a pretty big thing. Simba and Akeem have the same parents. James Earl Jones, who voices Mufasa in The Lion King, also plays Eddie Murphy's dad in Coming to America. And Sarabi, Simba's mom, was voiced by the late Madge Sinclair, who you can see here as Queen Eleone, Akeem's mom. Yeah, back in the 80s and 90s, if you needed someone to play some African royalty for you, you couldn't go wrong with James Earl Jones and Madge Sinclair. And Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Matthew Broderick, I guess? Let's move on. Family films have to be extra careful about making sure they don't even come close to showing anything too graphic. So, most people don't know that showing meat, which they did in this scene with Scar, was actually controversial. They had to make the animal flesh less pink than it originally was, and gray it down. Kind of like a striped version of one of those old school cartoon hams. The Wildebeest Stampede is a huge scene, not just in the movie, but also in its production history. They had to create a special avoidance computer program for it, which made it so the wildebeests would run toward each other and then turn away at the last moment. This made it so they wouldn't pass through each other like ghosts, and so that their paths would look realistic for a stampede. Each wildebeest movement is actually based on the same run cycle. The animators just added in jumps, bucks, and other movements to mix it up. And it took the entire 3 years of production for the sequence to be completed. 3 years for one sequence. God, animation is hard work, you guys. Almost as hard as voiceover. Let's get into how tedious animating can be a bit more with Simba's whiskers. Did you know that each of Simba's whiskers had to be drawn on a separate piece of paper? If you think that sounds like a nightmare, you're right. And it also explains why the lionesses don't have whiskers. Because the animators were too fucking lazy. Am I right? No, JK. JK, you guys. Just kidding. JK stands for just kidding. Next thing. Remember this scene? Yeah, you do. But you probably didn't know that originally they had the characters and background changing at the same time for the whole Simba grows up montage. They changed it because with that technique, you couldn't really pick up on the transitions and grasp that we were witnessing the passage of time. Instead, we see the background dissolve second after the characters do, which definitely works better. I assume. Because I'll never see the original version. And neither will you. Moving on. Can You Feel the Love Tonight won an Oscar for Best Song. Everybody loved it, we all know that. The surprising thing is, Tim Rice had to write the lyrics to the song some 18 times because of changes from Disney executives. Elton John had always envisioned the song as a classic Disney love song, but as the film was being made, the song evolved into a weird, jokey version where Timon and Pumbaa sing the song to each other. Luckily, the filmmakers realized that was a less than good idea, so we wound up with a final hybrid version where Timon and Pumbaa get us into and out of the song, but the meat of the song is what Elton John had always intended. And that features Tim Rice's first set of lyrics, by the way. That's it for us today, but Disney is probably sending goons to the Cinefix offices right now to, break our thumbs or whatever. But hey, maybe they'll look the other way and won't sue us. Kind of like how Tezuka Productions looked the other way when Disney borrowed inspiration from Kimba the White Lion for The Lion King. Whoa, hey, no! Ow, no, my thumbs! Oh, I need my thumbs! Anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Cinefix.com and subscribe for more true-ish things about movies, and sometimes Mufasa, right here on Things You Didn't Know.